Hello, good evening, friends. Welcome to my channel, Digital Diaries. Today, here I'm back again with another chit chat session of the Vampire Diaries Season 2. Now, I'm going to invite Bhargav to the studio. Hello, Bhargav.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine too.
Okay. So, in the previous chit chat session, we discussed up to episode 6 of the Vampire Diaries Season 2,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yes.
now the episode 7, that is a masquerade. सो इट्स अ वेरी ह्यूज एपिसोड बहुत सारी चीज़ें हुआ बहुत सारे एक्शंस हुआ था इस एपिसोड में तो थोड़ा नटशेल में डिस्कस करते हैं अबाउट दिस एपिसोड First of all, this episode was a massive episode, what to say, because all the actions happened. And it was basically a plan to kill Catherine. So Damon, Stefan, Jeremy, Bonnie, Caroline, sub milke, they were planning how to kill Catherine in order to save Helena, in order to basically do everything what evil Catherine was doing. And on the other hand, we see like Jenna, who stabbed herself because of Catherine's compulsion, is coming back to home, Alida taking care of her. On the other hand, all these guys are planning because Catherine threatened Caroline and told her to give them, the Salvatore brothers, a message that deliver the moonstone. And so at there was a masquerade party basically at the Lockwood's house. They have thrown a masquerade party. So all were going there. So Stefan Damon planned to kill Catherine at that masquerade party. And so Bonnie was also called for help and she also agreed. On the other side, we see like Catherine also had a witch, and because Catherine once saved her life, so that witch also owed to her something. So basically, she was into her and saving Catherine, and also she will help Catherine in breaking the curse from the Moonstone. Excuse me. So this was it. So all were planning. The masquerade party happened, and on the other hand, we saw that Matt was also compelled by Catherine to do a initiate a fight between Tyler and Matt, and so much so that Tyler kills Matt, and that triggers that werewolf curse. So everything goes properly, and Elena was also told. I mean, Stefan tells Larik like to watch on Elena so that she doesn't come to know all about this. फिर पार्टी में बहुत हंगामा होता है बहुत there was lots of actions and planning and plotting and that character called Amy who was basically Matt, Caroline and Tyler's friend, she got killed by Catherine, just what to say, collateral damage. So Stefan was doubting whether to do carry on with this plan, but Damon was like, no, we have got this chance, we have to use it. Caroline then trapped Catherine into a room by a trick because Bonnie spelled that room so that she cannot go out of that room. But what happened when Stefan and Damon tried to kill Catherine, like attack her, Alina was getting hurt. So that Catherine, what she did was like she used that witch to link herself with Alina. So whatever Stefan and Damon was doing on Catherine, it was affecting Alina. When they come to know that they couldn't kill Catherine, they were having a long conversation and all were stuck and they were trying to find out why Catherine needs that moonstone. But Catherine, being Catherine, plays them round. Then finally, what happens, because Bonnie also comes to know that there was another witch involved, and she comes to know that that witch also knows the Bennett witch, and somehow somewhere they were linked. That witch also promises Bonnie to help, and she finally helped. And basically, she did what? She gave the moonstone to Catherine, and the moonstone was spelled somehow. And for that reason, Catherine was affected, and she got weakened, and almost she died. I mean, I thought like she died, but no, that is not the case. But somehow Catherine's problem was solved. Basically, the problem called Catherine was solved that day, for that day at least. So Damon took her to the tomb and locked her in the tomb, from where she cannot come out. The vampires can't come out. And the episode ending, we had like Stefan asking Elena whether she's okay or not. Elena still doesn't want to go back to Stefan because she first wants to find out that everyone related to her, her friends and families are all right. But the episode ends with a shocker, like someone comes with a mask. This everything masquerade themes goes on a way. Like you see, the people who come to kidnap Lena also was wearing a mask, and Lena is kidnapped. Who kidnaps her? How what happens afterwards? That we don't know. So the episode ends there. Yeah. On the other hand, one thing side by side also went away, like Tyler. Matt obviously tried to instigate Tyler in killing him, and but Caroline was also there. She understood it, what Catherine did plan. Somehow she manages the situation. But since Matt felt there was another girl called Sarah, Catherine also compelled her to do that thing, and Sarah did something, and Tyler pushed her. Accidentally, she got killed by Tyler's hand. So Tyler was very much feared, but Caroline was trying to control the situation. So yeah, these all the things happened in this episode. So what do you want to talk about it?
See, Masquerade is one of my most favorite episodes of TVD of all time, all seasons considering. This is one of my most favorite episodes is Masquerade because there is first thing so much of drama happening. Everything, every character is going through some or the other thing. And
Yeah.
second thing, the all were looking so good. I mean, so damn
Yes.
good. All were looking and see. So yes, so I want to say this that. जब भी स्टेफन और डेमन साथ में कुछ प्लान करते हैं वो फिर वर्कआउट करे या ना करे वो सेकंड थिंग है लेकिन धमाका तो होना ही होना है तो दैट वाज सो गुड टू सी Salvatore brothers uniting against Catherine. That room scene is my favorite scene where Catherine is also locked in and there are the brothers also and there are a lot of things going on. Dialogue बाजी हो रहा है धमाका हो रहा है बहुत awesome हो रहा था and yes Caroline came in as a surprise. I mean, she came and हमें लगा कि yes, she's still. I mean, she will help Catherine, and then she did the unthinkable. I mean, she helped. She stabbed Catherine, and then yes, so that was also. And then on the other side, Tyler Matt thing was going on. मैट को कंपेयर किया था कैथरीन ने चलो वो नहीं हुआ बट टाइलर का कर्स तो एनी हाउ ट्रिगर हो गया सो दैट big thing happen and then we see something budding we can say in between Jeremy and Bonnie also that was like the beginning of their story yeah so many things happen and all in all it was a blockbuster episode yeah
Yeah. Yeah, that was it was like a power packed episode. So much of actions, so much of
yes
events happened in that episode. Very dramatized episode tha.
yes
And yeah, as you said, little bit Bonnie and Jeremy chemistry started to happen, and you were giving hints like yeah they were going to be a couple in the future, and I like
yes
that. And whole Catherine, Stefan, and Damon drama in that room when they finally, I mean, they were unable to kill Catherine. Then Damon and Catherine का जो dialogue बाजी चल रहा था, and Stefan ने
yes
एकदम सबको ऊपर मुंह तोड़ एक जवाब दे दिया like stop antagonizing each other. I mean, they could. Damon was obviously delivering huge dialogues, humorous dialogues, whatever he does. Catherine was also doing that. But Stefan doesn't do that, right? शायद मतलब
yes
ज्यादा नहीं दिखाई देता Stefan को ऐसे करते हुए. But suddenly Stefan says something which totally shuts them out. So it was very funny and very what you say humorous. And still after
also the
that,
one more thing yeah also one more thing that my favorite dialogue where everything was
yeah,
going on and in between एक ऐसा moment
Catherine.
आता है जब yes so Bonnie and Elena were linked ना so there Bonnie को कुछ हो रहा था Elena को कुछ हो रहा था and in between Stefan एकदम से घबरा गया कि Elena को कुछ हो जाएगा so he was like I'm backing out of the plan so Damon being Damon he says like you were asking me not to back out and now you are doing what so yeah that was also awesome moment yeah
I also like that part. You know, Stefan was very serious, asking Catherine about the
yes
moonstone and everything. He was asking one question, and Catherine was, "I love you." Stefan then again asking another question. Catherine was like, "I love you." I mean, no one is
yes
like Catherine. I mean, koi to सीखे Catherine say how to become so smart and also to avoid become
exactly
reply rudely. She doesn't want to reply rudely to Stefan. So that is the thing there. But she wants to avoid the answer. So she was like, I love you, I love you, I love you. It was so funny what they
yes
say. And finally at the end I was shocked.
yes
I mean I was worried like, okay, is she dead? Is Catherine's chapter totally over? But no, she doesn't die. She was locked in that tomb. So thank God. I thought
yes
the makers have made her to kill. And one thing I
yeah
also liked at the almost end of the episode, you see, generally in other shows or whatever we see, like if the problem is solved, now the couples get back to each other. It's like a happy ending or it's like happy go back together type thing. But here it didn't happen. Instantly,
hmm
Elena going back to Stefan since Catherine problem is solved. That didn't happen. That is a little bit weird, even out of the way, out of the box. But I like that thing कि हमेशा जो होता है उससे थोड़ा अलग ही करेंगे ना तो अच्छा लगेगा. And at that time, the music. Oh, the music was so awesome. It was like Jeremy coming and offering Bonnie a ride back to home. The scenes were actually proving that they're going to become a couple. And on the other side, Elena was standing on the top of a little bit mount type of thing, and Stefan coming from the back. That cinematography, the entire the scene, how it was portrayed, and the backdrop music, it was just mind blowing. And it was
Yes.
like, I like that scene, that picturization was like there. Elena says like, I want to find out at first that all the people whom I love are perfectly okay, then obviously I will get back to you, because that I want to stay with you, I love you. And then Stefan, yes, yes, I understand. Then Stefan was standing here, and Elena was standing here, and then Elena goes back in this where the camera pans, and the long shot happens, and a little bit of darkness and shadow. It was an awesome scene. Cinematography was bang on, and the music obviously was bang on.
Yes, it yeah is, in DVDs generally happens that पूरा एपिसोड इतना धूम धड़का धमाका होने के बाद एकदम लास्ट के जो 4-5 मिनट होते हैं, एकदम स्लो, एकदम
Yeah.
एकदम स्लो म्यूजिक इज हैपनिंग, स्लो सम स्वीट सीन इज हैपनिंग, एंड देन अगेन इन द लास्ट 1 minute or some seconds it again a shocker, and then it ends. So it's like a pattern of DVD always.
Exactly. So yeah, this was quite
Yes.
interesting and beginning of more action drama, obviously. And the next episode
Yes.
is the Rose, another wonderful episode. So you want to talk about it?
Yes, yes, I will say. So yes,
Yeah.
Rose is the episode of, we can say that the beginning of the original episode,
Yeah.
because in the start we see that Trevor kidnaps and takes Elena to some house. There we see an introduction of another character, Rose. So Elena has no idea where she is, and then Jeremy comes in to Stefan and asks that Elena was with you. So Stefan says no, and then they found out that Elena is missing. So then we see here that Rose tells Elena that she is the Petrova doppelganger, and then we introduced to that Elijah character. We see that Elijah के बारे में बात करें, that Elijah is an original vampire, and we are escaping from Elijah since 500 some years because we helped Catherine to get out, and so now Elijah is behind us. So if we offer you to Elijah, then he will let us go away peacefully. So there we come to know about Elijah, and then comes introduction of Elijah. Elijah comes in, and we see that Trevor उससे मतलब mercy की मतलब मांग कर रहा है and all. Then we Elijah एकदम आता है, and we see that वो हार्ट निकाल लेता है एकदम से वो
एकदम
ट्रेवर का.
bang on entry
Yes.
था.
Yes, एकदम bang on entry था, and Elena gets scared obviously, and there we see Damon and Stefan. Bonnie does a locator spell, so मतलब पता चलता है about where Elena is. Then Damon and Stefan go there, and there when we did this 12 years of TVD live, there also I said this Stefan का मुझे ये dialogue बहुत अच्छा लगा था. वहाँ पे वो dialogue आता है Stefan का, when Damon asks that we don't know अंदर कौन है कितना है, there that could be dangerous. Yes. So yes. So Stefan says that there cannot be any better way of dying than to by dying by saving Alina. So then Damon and Stefan goes in and tries to distract Elijah, and Damon stabs Elijah, and they think that Elijah has died. So they take Alina and Rose there with them, and we see that Rose घर पे आती है, and then थोड़ा और पता चलता है and about she talks about that Claus is the biggest deal, not Elijah. And then everything happens, and yes, then episode yeah. So there, was the episode. Episode ends with Elijah again. वो उठता है, हमें लगता है कि Elijah died, but he has not died. He again comes back to life. Yes, the episode ends with that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was a very interesting episode since the original track actually started from this episode. I mean, when Elena was
Yes.
kidnapped and Rose and Trevor were talking about Elijah, and Elena was wondering who the hell is Elijah and why they are scared of him so much. I mean, Rose and Trevor are also vampires, more superior vampires than Stefan and Damon, but they seem to get scared with of Elijah, and so Elena was much more worried. Who the hell is he? कि ये लोग भी डर रहा है उससे, सो क्या चीज क्या है वो, ऐसा टाइप का था ना. तो एंड देन Elijah entered and Daniel Gillies in that, what to say, I mean that suited look, always there. मतलब Elijah का हमेशा ये look होता था, एकदम suited booted, एकदम जहाँ पे भी जाओ कुछ situation, anything worse the situation maybe, but he is always decked up in beautiful and suave looking suit and tuxedos and all those things. So yeah, and his entry with a bang on snap taking out the hearse, and फर्स्ट टाइम ऐसा आई थिंक वी सॉ इन टीवीडी, बहुत ही खतरनाक लगा था. And also one thing I want to say, the same thing you said, the dialogue of Stefan. I mean, Damon when say asked like, अंदर कुछ भी हो सकता है, तो you never know who is inside and what is going to happen. And Stefan was like, if you were scared then you can go, but I cannot think of a much better way to die than this. I mean, this proves how, मतलब कितना प्यार वो करता था लेना से. That was the thing, how convenient, how devoted he was. And on the other hand, I like the thing, the friendship, because see, Bonnie never liked all this vampire and all thing, but still, when Elena is in danger, she's trying all her ways, in spite of getting hurt. I mean, her nose was bleeding, but still, she was doing everything she can do to reach to Elena, to help her, to locate her. So yeah, again, Jeremy and Bonnie scene, the budding relationship was being shown. And another thing I just liked, I mean, when they were discussing, and the most important thing was when finally Stefan and Damon stopped Elijah. Basically, Damon thought that Elijah is dead. Then Elena was coming and running, and she gave a hug to Stefan. And Damon was looking, ऐसे करके देख रहा था. He was like, "Okay, Elena is coming to hug me," but he was shocked when he saw like, no, Stefan comes. Are you okay? Are you okay? And Elena gives him a tight hug and just says to Damon like, "Thank you." Damon was like, "Yeah, yeah." So I laughed out like it's like a meme. Everyone just says like, "Okay, look at this," and it becomes such a funny example. And one more important thing happened in this episode, like, see, finally, we saw Demon confessed his love to Elena. I mean, that locket was lost, that Varven necklace which Stefan gave to Elena. Demon came to give that necklace to Elena, and at the time, before giving her that necklace, he said that he loves her, but he just doesn't deserve her. His brother does. So that was the thing, one soft corner demon thing. I mean, we never got to see this side of demon. So that was scene. That scene was okay. My favorite character is Stefan, obviously, and I like Stefan with Alira. But that scene was so fillful. What do you say? So emotional kind of thing. And after that, Devon compelled Alina to forget that scene. So, and we saw a teardrop falling from Demon's eyes. I mean, Demon is always cool, na? He never gets sad. He shows like I never get sad. I don't cry like Stefan. Stefan is like a crybaby. But for the first time, we saw teardrop rolling from Demon's eyes because he felt her, matlab, what to say, heartbroken to say, Lina, that I love her, and then again to make her forget that thing. So yeah, that scene, everyone, irrespective of Stefan or Damon fans, all will feel bad for Damon. I felt also for once. So yeah, that was one of the highlighting scene. Finally, Damon confessing to Elena. But Elena को याद नहीं था, obviously, because compel किया तो
Yes.
भूल गए. So yeah, I like this thing. It's all about the episode. So here is it now. The next episode, another bang on episode is Katerina. I mean, this I like this name, Katerina. And yeah, in this episode also we come to know about the many things. I mean, Rose informed Lena, then Rose also informed Damon in the previous episode, like Rose episode. Basically, we forget to mention. Like Rose informed Lena how to break that curse, that moonstone.
Hmm.
That moonstone is the key to breaking the curse, but the doppelganger blood is necessary to break the curse. So Elena also comes to know that in order to break the curse, she has to die. She also came to know that. And at the end of the episode, Rose was like, "Okay, you people have killed Elijah, but then he will come. All these people are working for him. Now, who the hell is that him?" Then at the end, she says it's Claus. And we were like, "Who is now Claus?" One Elijah came and gone, and now this Claus. So, yeah, that was also a suspenseful thing of this episode. Next comes the episode Katerina. It was a very what to say, another, we get to see much of Catherine basically. So this episode was all about Stefan again, Stefan, Damon, Rose, and Lena all discussing, and Rose warning them maybe Elijah is gone now, Claus will come. And then they are like, "Who the hell is Claus? He's only a legend, we don't know anything about Claus, he doesn't exist." But Rose wants them know he is an original vampire. Here he comes to know about the concept of the original vampire. That is, they are the first family of vampires from whom all the other vampires in the world are created. So Claus is the original, the first one. Elijah was also an original. So that is it. And then Alina also was like adamant. Stefan was like, "Okay, I'm going with you to school." Alina says, "No, I know where is the school. I don't want your protection," type of thing. But Alina andari andar, she was like, "Okay, no one knows anything about Claus, but I need to know. I cannot just sit behind and wait for Claus to come." and cannot let Stefan and Damon and everyone around me to die. So she decides, since Catherine knows something, she felt like Catherine knows something. So let us go to Catherine and ask her. So basically, she took some blood, and that Catherine, I think Catherine's that book that she brought from that day, I mean, Isabel's research center वो गई थी ना डेमन के साथ, उधर जाके एक book लेके आई थी about the Petrova family and the bloodlines and all. So that book वो लेके गए, and he literally, what to say, made Catherine confess her past story, basically lured her with that blood, and then we get to see the history. Actually, this episode starts wonderfully. I mean, nothing related to the entire TV. The episode starts with a scene in Bulgaria in 1490, and we see a girl, actually it is Catherine, talking in Bulgarian language, giving birth to a child. And we see that the father takes the child away from Catherine, and Catherine shouting for that baby. But since the baby, because Catherine caused shame to the family, the baby happened without being wedded. So yeah, the baby was taken away. Back in 1490, it was a great shameful thing at that time. So yeah, the episode starts with this, hinting that in this entire episode we will see much more about Catherine's past. So here Catherine tells her how she went to England in 1492, adopted being an English girl, and then started running from Claus when she came to know about what Claus has plans for her. Basically, Catherine was the first Petrova doppelganger. After that, now is Lena. So they wanted also Catherine's blood, same way like they want from Alina. So she was running, then Trevor came to her help, and so basically Catherine understood that Trevor will also not be able to save her because Claus and Elijah, they're so powerful, they will come and make her kill her and everything. So she took the help of Trevor, and also Rose was there. We see Rose in that 1492 time, who was Trevor's best friend. So basically, she tried to Rose heal किया था basically Catherine को, because Catherine stabbed herself. Basically, she acted to stab herself. So Rose gave her blood to heal it, and then Catherine used that situation. She committed suicide by hanging herself because she knew that this was the only way to save herself, to escape from Claus. Then Trevor and Rose were hell scared, like now Claus will come behind them. So Alina, then when she finishes her story, like how she transformed into a vampire, because Claus will have no use of her when she is a vampire. Human Catherine, he can use it. So Elena was like, so you are the only reason to cause all the misery to Trevor and Rose. So Catherine was like, no, I was looking out for myself. I was trying to save myself, and I will always do that. So ये discussion हो रहा था. On the other side, Elena forced Caroline to say like, don't tell anything to Stefan. Don't let him come here. But Caroline, that's the reason that Caroline was talking childishly, doing childish things with Stefan. Like I told Tyler, because on that, I mean, there was a scene obviously between Tyler and Caroline. Tyler was confused now why Caroline was doing like such a reacting in a weird way. Maybe she knows about the werewolf thing and all. So she suspects Caroline to be a werewolf also. Some network problem happening while the camera is gone off. Okay, let me continue with the episode. So yeah, it was like so Caroline and Tyler had a conversation. They confronted each other, and finally Caroline told Tyler that she is a vampire. And Tyler को ये भी समझा दिया, like you cannot tell anyone about our secrets because it can cause our death. So yeah, Tyler said he's scared about what will happen in the next full moon when he has to turn to a werewolf. So Caroline was telling all these things to Stefan in order to distract him from thinking about Lena. So finally, what happens? Will still Stefan figures it out, and he goes to the cave and inside the tomb and tells Lena like, okay, you cannot listen to her. She is telling everything. Whatever she is telling is a lie. But Catherine informs one thing to Elena before Stefan comes, like for breaking the curse, what things we need, the ingredients. One moonstone that is available, that is with Catherine. Then we need a doppelganger. Then they need a witch to break the curse, and sacrifice. Sacrifice of a werewolf, then a vampire, then the doppelganger blood. So all these things are needed, and then they figure out that is why they need Caroline. That is the reason why she was being converted into a vampire, and Tyler was being triggered the curse of becoming a werewolf, and which obviously Bonnie is there. So they need all of them. So not only Elena, but all the other people who are close to Elena, all her friends and everyone are at risk because of this thing. And then Stefan says, like, no, Catherine is telling whatever she is telling, she is lie. I will protect you. I will protect you. This thing, like she says. Then Catherine tells one horrific thing, like, if why I have never not told you the best part of the story. What was the best part? It was the most horrific part. Basically, she says like. When she escaped her death because she became a vampire. So when she returned to Bulgaria to her village, she found that Klaus killed her entire family, and it was just all bloody, bloody, bloody. And Lina and Stefan were like horrified. Stefan was like, no, she's lying, she's lying, she's doing it and negotiating it so that we give her an opportunity to come out. Then Catherine says the big thing, like, I don't want to come out of this room because when Klaus comes, which he will obviously come, then what he will do, he will ruin the entire town, but he cannot get inside the tomb because if he gets inside, then he will not be able to come out. So I will be the safest vampire in the town. So I will. That is the thing. So Catherine tells this reason and goes in, and both Stefan and Elena, Stelina were shocked, and Stefan goes obviously to take Elena to home, and Elena was totally outburst, totally upset, and she lets it down totally. She hugs Stefan and lets her total misery and sadness out. And that is, I mean, Elena was like, no. So it was not that we fell in love or you came to town. That is the thing that they are all intended. It is because I am a doppelganger. So all my family and friends are in danger. So I am the reason. And Stefan is like trying to console her, console her, console her. And on the other hand, we saw an important thing. This episode is so long and so many things happen. Na? Like Rose and Damon visiting a guy called Slater, and they come to know something about werewolves and all those things, how to break the curse. But Slater says, no, I knew Elijah. Elijah now, since he is dead, I have to find out some other things. I have to see for some other things. But when the conversation was going on, we see Elijah, who is not dead, who is back again, taking some coins from a beggar and throwing it and breaking the window, and all were hell scared because that was a UV ray protected glass, so the vampires wouldn't get burned. But because that glass broke down, they were like burning, and they ran. And Rose was horrified. She was thinking like Claus came back to kill them, and all was so upset and so sad and so क्या बोलूं बहुत डर गए थे सब लोग. So basically यही था episode. So it was a fantabulous episode. So what do you want to say about it?
Yes, another awesome episode. I mean, all the three episodes we discussed today are all awesome, and so many
Yeah,
events
so many
happened. Na?
events
So I
happen.
also in yes, so Rose episode also I forgot to mention that two things you mentioned it. So yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, about this episode, we finally got to know about the whole Catherine's past story. I mean, Bulgaria story, 1492. What happened to her? Why she's like this? Why she's running from claws? We saw again. We saw Rose and Trevor also in the flashback how they tried to save her and how they ended up being the enemies of the whole Michelson family. We can say the original family. So we got to know about that, and first time we saw Elena. I mean, no, not the first time, but for the longest time, I think we saw Elena and Catherine face to face for so much long time, for almost the whole episode. We can say the way Catherine was describing her story. Finally, we got to know that to break the Moonstone curse, what all things are needed. So that, and I loved that Caroline and Stefan scene at the grill, where Caroline was like trying to distract Stefan from all the things, and Stefan was like, in the end, he said that now if you are done with the distracting thing, then now tell me the truth. Where is Elena? So Caroline was like, I can't say that, but Stefan ultimately figured it out, and he went to the tomb, and he, like the way he tried to tell Elena that no, she's lying, no, she's lying, and then when Catherine ultimately told that what Claus did and all, then in the end, the scene, that Sterina scene, I loved that scene where Stefan was trying to console Elena, and Elena was like, no, I am the reason of all this thing happening, and now my near one and dear one, my friends are also at the risk. So that scene, and yes, the scene you mentioned, I also love that scene where Elijah is throwing some coins, and that was so awesome, the way he broke that glass, and all were, I mean, Slater and Rose and Damon, they were like in risk. So yeah, these all things I loved in the episode. All in all, it was a fantastic episode.
Bang on episode, yeah. I mean, I heard like when Daniel Gillis was finalized for Elijah, he was about to do
Mhm.
some cameo role basically for 2 or 3 episodes. But the audience liked the original track so much. Basically, Elijah, then obviously came Claus. Like the makers decided to continue their more parts more and more, and finally they were so impressed, the audiences were so impressed that they decided to make an entire show out of them with the originals, the
Yes.
spin-off. Actually, the tracks, there were many tracks in DVD, many villains and many negative characters, many powerful people came and go in the vampire diaries, but the originals, no one कोई उसके आसपास भी नहीं था. Yeah, in season 6 Kai was somewhat after the originals. Any villain who we liked so much was Kai, but the originals का उनका जो effect था ना, that is the reason why season 2, 3, 4 are my favorite seasons, because it was all the originals were there. And क्या बोलेगा, अलग ही एनर्जी लेके आए थे. The savage, the way how just Elijah comes and does the things, then we will see obviously Claus. It will just bang on. Matlab, we cannot hate them because they are negative character, but we also love with their characters. So that is the main thing what the makers, the TVD did. Generally, the antagonists, we hate them, right? But here it is the opposite thing. We were loving the antagonists and we're wishing they could stay a much longer time. So that is the thing. And yeah, the Stelina scene was totally awesome. I mean, the way Alina realized, like, she is the main cause of all these bad things happening. And जिस तरह से स्टेफन कंसोल कर रहे थे अलीना को, at that time Paul's face, he emotes this type of scene so beautifully. What to say, in a crying
Yes.
emotional scene, he is just the king of emotions, I can say. And Nina also, that was such a fantabulous entire scene. What to say, entire episode, it was must be very much tiring, because entire Alina and Catherine conversation scene I heard when it was shot with Nina as Catherine, then pura scene complete ho gaya, then it was shot with Nina as Elena, and they edited that scenes and put it them, and at some time body doubles were also used. And so Julie Blake described that how tedious it was. I mean, at first they when they started actually DVD, they have also never thought of making Nina playing both the characters, Catherine and Elena. But finally they decided. But when they did their scenes, na, Julie was like, she was saying, I heard her saying in the interviews, like, why the hell we took that decision of making Nina both Catherine and Elena? It is so tedious. Oh God, कोई और होता, then we could have easily shot that scenes ना. But एक बार नीना को मेकअप करके अलग से मेकअप दे के उसको एलिना बनाओ, फिर अलग से मेकअप दे के उसको कैथरीन बनाओ. And Nina portraying both the characters as antagonist Catherine, her nuances were so awesome, and as Elena, sweet, soft Elena, it was just bang on. Nina's acting was like Oscar-winning performance. था ये episode में. And also, super interesting
Yes.
thing was Catherine's past story. We were like, see, this proves now that Catherine was also an innocent girl back in 1492. She was also an ordinary innocent girl, just like Elena now she is. But everyone will try to obviously save oneself. I don't see anything wrong in there. Saving yourself, saving her own life was not a wrong from her part, obviously. But that is the thing. See, this Claus and Elijah thing made her do that, and now she became this. So that is the thing. And that Bulgaria was scene, and actually, basically, I heard that in the story, Catherine was not from Bulgaria. But here, since Nina
Hmm.
Dobrev is basically a Bulgarian, so the makers made it show like Catherine is a Bulgarian, and Nina was comfortable and fluent in speaking Bulgarian language. So the makers changed it from the original book में जो था basically. So yeah, all in all, a bang on episode. Now we will see all the originals thing. And Rose कितना डर रही थी ना वो Claus and Elijah से. That was the hint, like how खतरनाक, how dangerous the originals will be. Yeah, that is
I
the
want to
thing.
say this one thing. I want to say this one thing, that Paul being and such a, he's so, he's so sweet and the funny guy
Truth.
in the original. His real life, and how can he emote such so emotional scenes so perfectly? That describes that how bang on, how awesome an actor he is. Paul. Yeah.
Exactly. If we see na, Paul is like real life Damon or real life whatever to say Silas.
Yes.
When Silas will next come.
Yes.
But Ian on the other hand is
Yes.
real life Stephen. He is like soft, sweet, ज़्यादा बोलता नहीं है, बोलता है मतलब ज़्यादा बोलता है,
Yes.
obviously कुछ डिस्कस करते तो बहुत ज़्यादा बोलते हैं, पर ज़्यादा ह्यूमरस खुद से नहीं है वो. But Paul is like bang on, कभी भी
Hmm.
कहीं पे भी जाता है, जो भी मुंह में आता है बोल देता है, and with a very much humor. I mean, you start a show with Paul, उसको कोई स्क्रिप्ट की जरूरत नहीं होती है, and he's just like starts his own dialogue and makes everyone out there laugh. But Stefan was totally a reverse type
Yes.
of character. So hats off to the guy. I mean, कैसे एकदम total 360 opposite character on screen play करना for 8 years is not a matter of joke. Same with Ian, obviously.
Obviously
Ian
not.
was also totally reversed than Ian. So he has to also show that humor and all the thing, the I thing and all. And I like that thing. Always
Yes.
Paul imitate, Ian, like, what do you do in the scene? You just do that I thing and bas ho gaya and you have to don't do anything else. Then Ian is like, what the hell you do? You just cry on the screen. So ये दोनों का जो
Yes.
comedy banter that is like so awesome. Since their bonding
Yes.
off screen was so awesome and so beautiful, it reflected on screen also. The different the brothers.
Yes.
So this is it. So I hope you like this entire session of chit chat session. So okay, अगर कुछ अच्छा लगा हो तो वो भी बताइए कमेंट्स में, कुछ नहीं अच्छा लगा हो तो वो भी बताइए कमेंट्स में. एंड प्लीज अभी तक अगर आपने मेरा चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज 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 सब्सक्राइब
Yes.
इट एंड गिव अस सजेशंस. You want to say anything?
Yes, one thing
And
that all the new subscribers who have joined our channel, thank you so much for joining our channel, and we promise that a lot of content is coming very soon. So please
yeah, yeah.
stay tuned, and thank you so much for everything. Yeah.
Exactly. Please stay tuned. We will come back with also many more interesting contents are coming up. So we will obviously make more and more videos out of it. So okay, please अगर सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है, तो और जो सब्सक्राइब प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और हमें बताइए कि हमें और क्या क्या इंटरेस्टिंग करें इस सेशन को और भी इंटरेस्टिंग बनाने के लिए. We'll again back with our next session after a few days. So तब तक के लिए take care and goodbye.